Almighty God, you have blessed us with memory, reason, and skill. Help us to use them wisely in the service of our town government. We ask this in thy holy name, amen. We'll salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. Is there anyone that would like to address the board? Go ahead.
I'm all set for a little update and so forth on
Yeah, that's fine.
the zoning process, Mr. Supervisor. If I may, I'll just hand out some updates and new documents that can go in the binder that we started with a couple of months ago. Around, as we were seeing, you're not keeping these, I guess. So. You're welcome. There we go, and I'll just take a couple of quick minutes and just review what you've got. If you recall, when we did the seeker process, you ended up with only half of the document because they were printed on two sides and got copied only on one. So now you have a complete full environmental assessment form, 21 pages. And then following that is the negative declaration, which has been filed with the environmental news bulletin on DEC's website. You also have August 13, 2003 excerpt from the minutes of the meeting, which approved a negative declaration for the seeker in relation to the town of Champlain zoning law amendment for 2013. Next, you have a reprint from the Press Republican in the of interest section on August 21st, 2013. The press article said that a draft of the town of Champlain amended zoning law and zoning map is complete, and at its September 10th session, tonight the Champlain Town Council will set the date for a public hearing. A temporary zoning amendment advisory committee was appointed by the Town Council in July 2012 to oversee the creation of the document, and did so over the course of 11 meetings, a press release said. The draft has been reviewed and found acceptable by the Town Zoning Board, the Town Planning Board, the Town Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Clinton County Planning Board. And it goes on to say that the document, the amended zoning law, is available on the town website or by calling the town office to order a paper copy. And for more information, contact Town Zoning and Codes Enforcement Officer Michael Tatro or myself, Scott Allen, at the AES Northeast. And then following that is a hard copy of the negative declaration that was published in DEC's environmental notice bulletin. And then following that is a draft of the resolution for scheduling a public hearing for prior to adopting the amended town of Champlain zoning law and that, which we'll ask you to act upon tonight. And then following that is the draft public notice, which would go into the legal section of the newspaper 10 days prior to when you want to schedule your public hearing. And I would recommend that that draft public notice also be published on the town website. And I can take care of that if you so desire. I'll contact your webmaster. And then the last page are just suggested rules for the conduct of the public hearing, and there's only a couple things there that just recaps. So the purpose of the hearing is not for an open debate, but to allow each speaker to give testimony, and then speakers wishing to address the board should sign in on a sign-in sheet that you'll provide by the door so that we have a complete record of the public hearing, and suggest that speakers are limited usually to time limit of 3 minutes, so everybody has a chance to make their testimony. And if the testimony will take longer, then we recommend that the testimony be submitted in writing so they could have it available to you prior to the public hearing. So the next step in the process, I believe you've all seen a copy of the draft local law prepared by Mr. Favreau, your legal counsel, and that's a very basic document. It just says basically the local law is to accept the amended zoning law. So the formal process is that one of the members here would introduce that local law, and then you would accept that as the draft local law, and then you would go forward with actually adopting a resolution to hold the public hearing. So that's where we are in the process.
As far as the public hearing, does any board member have a night that would not be agreeable with running?
What was the time frame between now and the public hearing was how many days?
Once the notice is published, then you have to wait for at least 10 days before you hold the public hearing.
Am I correct? It's got to be at least 10, but not more than 20?
I am not certain on that. I'd have to check and make sure.
Okay, it's got to be at least 10 days ahead.
At least 10 ahead, yes.
Okay. Anything, how's your schedule? I mean,
Well, we'll work around what's convenient for you.
okay.
I don't have any known conflicts. Preferably not a Monday for me, but I can work around that as well.
We're looking at something else tonight, later on the 24th of this month, which is a Tuesday.
That'll work
Okay.
for me.
That's for the one that we had just had to cancel out on the 16th because it wasn't in the paper long enough, and completely in the paper. It was not completely in the paper. Would the 1st of October work? Tuesday? Steve,
I'm gonna make it work no matter when it is, so whatever the consensus is, I'll be here.
John or Dennis?
The first is good.
That gives us plenty of time to advertise it. Okay. So we need a motion then to approve the draft notice. I would believe that'd be the right wording.
You would want to introduce the local law
Okay.
that Mr. Favreau drafted.
Do you have a copy of that?
I thought it was in here. It's not in here? It's
The
not in here?
local law, no, I think Mrs. West had that, I think she gave you a copy of that, the local law. It's just the form, it's just the basic format of local law, and all it says basically is that the local law is for adopting the amended zoning law.
Okay.
But it's not approving it to make.
Well, absolutely not, no, can't approve it until you hold a public hearing.
Yes.
And you know,
And that will take
throughout this
another
process-
vote. That will take another vote.
Absolutely,
Yes.
yeah, you'll vote on the actual, what you're voting on is to adopt a local law, which puts into effect your amended zoning. Now, there is opportunity between, from now, right up until the time that you vote on it, on the adoption of your local law, to amend the draft.
The draft.
Yes.
And we do not have to vote on it the night of the meeting, of the
On the
hearing.
night of the public hearing, no.
Okay, can I have somebody make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to approve the draft.
A local,
No,
No,
you're making a
it's-
motion to
Introduce.
schedule a public hearing for local law number 2 of 2013 for the zoning amendments.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie.
I'll second that.
we'll take a roll call vote on this. John?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
I vote so. Now we need to set the date, if I'm correct.
Yes, if you basically, the resolution that we did provide you with a draft resolution, okay, for scheduling the public hearing. Okay, so there is a resolution in your package. It's, just 3-4 pages up, and that draft resolution is basically, just outlines the background of the process, which is virtually the same as what was put in the of interest section of the August 13th newspaper article. And it just goes on to say that now, therefore, be it resolved that pursuant to section 20 of the Municipal Home Rule Law of the State of New York, a public hearing on a proposed local law number, and what did you say, Julie, it would be?
It's local law number 2,
Number 2 of the year 2013,
yes.
adopting the amended zoning law, and that shall be held on. So yeah, why don't you go ahead and set your date, and then you can include the date in your resolution.
Okay,
At 7 o'clock?
yes. It's okay with everybody?
Yes.
Okay,
October 1st.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second that motion.
any questions? Is that the right wording, Julie, you think?
Yep.
Okay. Roll call vote, John?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
And yes for myself. So the public hearing will be October 1st at 7 o'clock. So we'll be published 10 days ahead, at least 10 days ahead.
That's it, last sheet.
Okay, so
That's all we need to do for that then.
that's all I need to, Julie, I'll work with you in getting that notice into the Press Republican.
I like the idea of putting it on the website too.
And I'll work with your webmaster to get the same notice put right on the website.
Yes.
All right?
Actually,
Yep.
if you want, I can call Donna, because she's been showing me how to put stuff on.
Oh, okay, all right.
So.
I'll get with you. Okay, thank you very much.
I thank you.
Scott?
Yes, Dave?
Public, when you
Pardon?
get ready.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay.
You might want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm David Patrick, and I'm here with Andrew Black and Chris Wolf from Plattsburgh State. And as you know, we did some work at Dewey's Tavern at the cemetery, and some radar work, and we were looking to try to find graves and where the family may have been, or any other indications. And we just received some information, so I was going to have Chris, Dr. Wolf, talk to you a little bit about the results we found and maybe where we want to proceed.
Okay.
Let me give you a very brief report with some images of our work. Now, I'll go through each of these just really briefly. I don't want to take up too much
Thank you.
time, just to give you an idea of where we're at on this. So we worked, as David said, we worked on the Dewey's Tavern Cemetery site that's on the town property, using a ground penetrating radar, so no ground was broken, just put out our stakes, and I put some pictures of some of you that weren't able to come out and see the process. You can see here's Tommy pulling the radar behind him, working in the field there where the possible grave sites are, and then some of the results. So what you'll see in the next 3 images are actually different depth readings from this instrument. So 1 meter, 1.5 meters, and 1.75 meters. So basically right where you'd expect the depths of graves to possibly be. And what we have is some positive we have some anomalies, these really bright red areas that you see on the map. Those are areas that indicate where there was some ground disturbance. There's not a really clear picture, which is kind of what you'd expect if people had been removed and the graves were disturbed and put somewhere else. So if they had been removed, that's somewhat what you would expect, but there's some complicating things that we ran into, is if you flip through the pages, you can see that black area surrounding the blue and the red. That's actually the ledge, the underlying bedrock. And so some of these red spots might actually be water that pooled on top of that and gives us some false readings. So we're not exactly sure if these are graves. So what I would recommend, and what I have in the last page is some of my recommendations for a couple of different things that I want to talk about too, is that we, with your permission of course, we go out, particularly near the flagpole, which seems to be the most positive readings, and just not using any kinds of earth-moving equipment other than a shovel and some trowels, just excavate a very small portion just to see if there's anything there, not to necessarily disturb it, but just to ground truth our results and try to determine if there are existing graves in the area. And then with that information, maybe you could go forward and do something about conserving them, protecting the area. And so there's a couple of places I would recommend doing that, and around the flagpole and maybe this bigger area, which is the possibility of where there might be some larger grave sites. But I would estimate we wouldn't need to open up more than a couple of square meters at the most altogether. And just to give you some idea also of what we were able to find out, we did a few other things. For instance, we went over to the Glenwood Cemetery just to see, well, if they moved the graves, and they were supposedly moved to the Glenwood Cemetery, some of the graves, can we see that there are graves over there, which might give us an indication whether the graves were actually moved or just the headstones were moved, if that makes sense. So the first of these images you'll see, it's very flat and very featureless, and I apologize unless, you know, this probably looks like squiggles on a picture to you. It does to me too, frankly. But, this first one though, you can see those squiggles are kind of flat, which indicates there's not really any, there's no evidence of that the ground was disturbed. And that is right in front of the Dewey graves. That's the picture right before it. See those graves that are really close together? This is where we did that test. This is the result of that test. It seems to indicate that there's no caskets there. So that means they might still be over at the other place, which would be a good thing to find out, I would think. And just to give you an idea of what it looks like when you do have graves, so we went and did another couple of lines near some known graves, and you can see there's all kinds of these, what we call parabolic little echoes. That's what you would expect to see when there are actual disturbances. And these points where you have these kind of triangular peaks, those are probably where the graves are on that. And then the last one is actually David's relative, Plenty Moore's grave.
Yeah, so there's a picture of Plenty More in here.
There's a huge spike. That's probably because there's a lead coffin with it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So it's a really strong peak. That's what we have here.
Okay.
And then I wanted to just briefly show you the last thing, to show you what, when there were graves that were very clearly, just to give you a demonstration of what it would look like when you have a nice picture. And I colored them in a little bit, but this is in the old burying ground, and there's some, we did some tests over there, and we saw some very clear boxes where the graves were. So it's very clearly indicated in that area. So some of that has to do with just differences in soil and things. But I'm recommending, if possible, just to do very minimal hand excavation, no machinery, and just ground truth our results with, obviously, your permissions to do that. And possibly a way to get some community involvement in that as well, just to try to figure out what's still there so that we can preserve it. That's all I have. If there's any questions.
We certainly thank you for your efforts so far. I have no problem with hand digging, so to speak, where I'm assuming that if something is found, it will not be disturbed anymore than it has to be.
Right, and that would be my recommendation, is just getting down just to see if something is there, not to take anything out of the ground, but just to expose it, say, yes, there's a casket here, yes, there are human remains here. And then if that's so, we can use these results, and if we know what they look like, you know, because we have these results, we can then get a good idea of where the cemetery is, as far as the Dewey's Town.
Do you expect to do that this fall?
It's possible we could get out there. It wouldn't take more than a few days to do some testing, a couple of days probably. What do you think, Andy?
Probably 1 day, 1.5 days per, place we're actually looking.
So 2 or 3 days maybe total, and it would be, like I said, just a couple of little units, about 50 by 50, in different places, maybe 4 or 5 altogether, just to see if the results are actually telling us that there are graves here, or if there's some other natural processes that could cause these.
Actually, you might have to step it down to a 50 by 50 if we're going 1.5 meters
That's true.
down. So,
So that's kind of,
So just so I'm clear, because you're not seeing anything in your study that shows activity where those dewy stones are, you summarize or hypothesize that they never were moved from
And,
there.
and I also believe even if everyone had been moved that's listed at Glenwood, there's still 5 people, Deweys that are not accounted for, that don't have stones. So it's 5 plus whoever is not buried in Glenwood. So there's people there. I mean, we can guarantee it, it's just a question of where.
yeah, and so to answer your question, it doesn't seem to be from our results. I mean, we can't say 100% certainty, but I'd say 90% certainty. There's doesn't seem to be indication there were graves at that location.
You mentioned community involvement. Have you contacted the high school across the?
No, actually, I thought that would be a good idea, because, you know, it's the closeness of it might be good for students to learn about heritage, you know, preservation and
Right,
things.
and
And we talked about Boy Scouts possibly as another opportunity to get involved.
Make a good connection.
Mhm. And we'd be happy to do that. We do a lot of outreach and public outreach to try to educate people about why these places need to be protected.
I'm in favor, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do. I think it was my family, and I would want my family's gravesite preserved and
Because it's, you
treated
know,
with
it's
the
a
right
12,
respect.
it's a 12-acre field, and it's a big area, and, you know, like you said, it'd be nice to know that they're here or versus here, versus
Yep.
just in a large field.
Um,
I'm with Steve, I support it.
This afternoon, Rose Favreau was working down in the primary, and she is from that area, and she said she saw you guys up there, and she was gonna stop, because she said she thinks you're in the wrong location, because she said when she was a kid, she can remember. And she said that she thought you were in the wrong location, so I don't know if you wanna talk to her, or,
Yes, definitely.
and she could probably,
Because these might turn out to be nothing but, you know, pooling water or something, so it'd be good to know for sure. And if she has an idea of where this is an expensive process, so we probably,
that's
I'd
what
have
she
to get
was
another
telling me
grant,
today.
but we could at least put some test pits maybe
Yeah.
somewhere else, if we thought it was somewhere else.
Because the problem is the stones were moved in 1909, and so we don't really know, you know, how big it was. Mr. Bedard's father remembered seeing the stones, and then after the stones were moved to Glenwood, a fence was left, which disappeared in the 50s or 60s. And that fence is where you pull in off to the side of the road. Mr. Bedard remembers the fence, but there, you know, no one really has any idea. There used to be an old map that no one seems to be able to find right now, but, so anyway, you know.
I can give you my contact information if you want to pass it on to her.
Yeah, I will.
Anybody who has any kind of information, it's always helpful.
Thank you.
Okay. And we need a motion to approve?
I would think so.
So go ahead and, let's call it limited digging, is that the,
Limited, I would
That's
say
what he's
limited
got.
test excavation.
okay? Somebody would like to make that motion then?
I'll make a motion to allow limited.
I'll second that.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. I thank you for your efforts. I was up there today, you were doing it.
Yeah.
It seemed very interesting.
Yeah, we're quite willing to have any of you come out and make sure, you know,
If
see
you
what
could
we're
let us,
doing.
you could let us know when you might possibly be up
Okay.
there digging, that would be helpful
Yeah,
if you get some people.
certainly.
We didn't say we wanted to help, we said we wanted to
Yeah. It's up to you.
Thank
You know
you.
what?
Thank you guys,
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
You know, Rose is right here. If you just wanted to stop by and see her.
She's here?
She's in the,
Yeah.
if you go down the hall, wind your way down, there's a primary election,
Just ask for Rose.
Rose Favreau.
Okay, I
She
will.
might be able to shed some light on it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Does anybody else wish to address the board?
Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to know if you had any results from what we spoke about.
I
The
mentioned
lighting?
it to some of my councilmen. I reviewed the process that I went through with you,
Correct.
with the folder, how the district was formed in 2010, and nobody had spoke, I don't believe you were here last month, Steve.
No, it was not.
Mr. Lepan had a concern about the Fairbanks district, lighting district that we formed. He is in it now, doesn't feel he should be. He owns a vacant lot. That a vote was taken. We were petitioned by the residents of that district. You were here, I believe, Steve.
Yes.
We went through an extensive process, and Alan got in on it, I believe, a little bit with the New York State Electric and Gas. We formed a district through our attorney. We held a public hearing. Nobody spoke at that public hearing. We did send out notices before the public hearing, and Jerry did send back a note on that he was not in favor of it, but he was not at the public hearing. The vote was taken on assessed value of the properties. That's how the vote, weighted vote, okay? His contention, I believe I'm correct, that he doesn't feel he should be in that district because he owns a vacant lot and it is no benefit to him. Am I correct?
Vacant lot, and also that it does not border the Fairbanks Road.
It borders a lot that borders the Fairbanks Road, am I correct?
Yeah, there's a lot between myself and the Fairbanks Road,
Okay.
so it doesn't border Fairbanks.
The district was formed back then, he did not come to the public hearing and speak. I don't know where to go with it, other than to say the district is what it is, and I don't know what else to do about it. His assessed value of that piece of property is $7,400. It's the smallest assessment of all those lots on that district. His total bill for the month, for the year was $4.57 for his share of that lighting district, okay? And I don't know how to tear it apart. I don't believe you can tear a district apart one by one.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate part is, when you create a district, it's all or none, right?
Yes.
You can't, like, you're in it, you're not, you're in it, you're not, you're in it, you're not. And you take a vote, and that's
Well,
the unfortunate part.
The unfortunate part was, obviously, the letter that you sent out to everybody did not have a date in it for the public hearing. I'm sure that I didn't read, I don't get the Press Republican on a daily basis, so I didn't get it. I did not make the public hearing. If I had known, I would have came and addressed you with strong concerns about it. And the other thing is also, is like I said, the last meeting you held, I do not border the Fairbanks Road. Had I bordered the Fairbanks Road, I could understand. I don't border it, so I don't even see where you would bring me into the lighting district. And I do understand that, you know, and you mentioned that, yeah, if you bordered the Fairbanks Road, more than likely you'd be in the lighting district. You said that at the last meeting. And also I understand that you had said that Junior Ashline is exempt from the lighting district because his property is on the intersection of 11 and Fairbanks. And when they put the wall in, that they agreed, I believe it was DOT agreed, they would put a light at the intersection and it wouldn't cost Junior anything. So you exempted him from the lighting district tax, which I don't believe would be fair to me, because now we're talking about the light at the intersection, not the other lights that are on the road. So if this man's property borders the Fairbanks Road, you exempt him from the lighting district tax, but you don't exempt me. What seems to be the problem there? I mean, there's not just a light at the intersection. If it was a light at the intersection, that would be a DOT problem. That would not be the lighting district's problem.
If I'm correct,
Am I right?
Probably shed some light on this. The DOT felt at that time it was a safety issue, and they were willing to put that light in. Am I correct, Alan?
I think so. I think that's the way it worked.
Yep.
Okay.
A few years ago with it.
Yes.
Okay,
So that, okay,
right? I agree with you, 100%.
that light was there before the lighting district.
Okay,
So how do you charge a guy for another light?
that's not what I'm saying. His property is on the Fairbanks Road. My property is off the end of the Fairbanks Road, which doesn't even touch the Fairbanks Road, but you exempted him from the lighting district, but you didn't exempt me, and my property doesn't even touch the Fairbanks Road. Do you follow me?
I understand.
I know you do.
But we have a district in place, and I do not know how to dismantle it, and I'm not so sure I want to dismantle a lighting district.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm not so sure how to do that. It would have to be legally done. I just don't see how we can do this.
Yeah, I wasn't in here when the district was created, but I would assume that the district was created legally
Yes, our
and,
attorney
right.
drew up the district lines for us.
Did you exempt one person off the road from the lighting district?
Well, the lighting district, if I am correct, starts after his property. The next house would be in it, am I correct?
Oh, well, I'm not sure, that's what you're telling me, but I had understood it was the Fairbanks Road was a lighting district. It didn't have a certain distance
Well,
from
for
11.
instance, we could have a lighting district on Route 11 for half a mile. It doesn't have to do the whole road.
Well,
If that light was at the intersection prior to the
Yes.
creation of the district, I
Yes.
can understand why it would have started here instead of here.
Yes,
That makes sense to me.
yes.
I don't know if that's what happened, but it makes sense to me that it would start after his residence if that light was already there.
but you do see what I'm
I
saying.
absolutely do.
I mean, I think you all sit there and you understand what I'm saying. I mean, if we were all on a Fairbanks Road, obviously it would charge us all the same. If you exempt one person on Fairbanks Road for 3 lights, 1 light, or whatever lights it is, then the person that's on the end, that's not even touching the Fairbanks Road, that's asking to be exempt from your lighting district. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not hearing that he was exempt from the lighting district. I'm hearing that he was never part of it.
Yes, that is correct.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, see, and I heard he was exempt. So obviously, I think it's a little bit of misinformation that where your lighting district actually starts, where your lighting district ends. And when you sent out the form to everybody, I don't believe it was included in the form where the district started, where it ended, and, you
No,
know,
we only sent.
you sent out a,
To those that would be affected.
so did you send one out to Junior?
Probably not, because he was not in the district.
Was he in your, I think he was in your list, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't remember that being on our list. His name.
I know, we held public hearings on it.
Yeah. If I had known, obviously I would have been here for a public
We always
hearing.
publish it in the paper and everything, and I don't know if I'm getting the press or not, but.
And certainly would have been
Hard
announced
for me
in
to
the
believe
board.
that was sent out a notice for a public hearing without a date on it.
We spent a lot of time on this district.
Mhm.
Between board meetings,
Yes.
lawyers, hearings. We spent a lot of time, a lot of money
Yeah.
on this district.
Like I had said before, if it was a high crime rate area, high traffic, some safety issue or something like that, I can understand, but you spent basically a lot of time and money on this district for, was it 3 lights or whatever on this road?
We only created that district because we had a request to do so.
Mhm.
People petitioned us. We have that list, we have that petition.
Yeah, you showed it
They
to me.
petitioned us. We did not go in there and form this district on our own. These people petitioned us. And we had to send everybody a notice. And it was based upon assessed value of the property.
Yeah. And you said you had a 53%,
58 to
Favor.
42. I believe it was. I believe it was 58% voted for it. Had it been a 49 to 51 vote, we still would have formed a district, more than likely. Okay?
That's
not
how it
our
works.
choice.
That's how it works.
Okay, that's how it works. Okay? Jerry, I don't see anything I can do for you, I really don't.
okay, so it's just the board's position that the lighting district is where it's at, and that it forms after Junior Ashline's property and goes to,
The end of the road, whatever it is.
okay, that's what I'm asking.
The end-
Goes to where? Where's the end of the district?
I haven't got the map in front of me, but I showed that.
Is it
to
the
you.
end of the light poles? Is it the end of somebody's property? Do you have any idea?
Am I correct? Maybe Alan can help me on this. Did the nearest state electric gas,
They're the ones who make a survey to see where the lights go. I mean, they don't want them too close, they don't want them too
Yep.
far apart.
okay, we didn't set the lights,
No.
okay?
And I think it goes to the last house.
Okay, so NICEAG would have a map of the
Yep.
creation of a lighting district from here.
They
Yeah.
should have,
Yep.
Okay, then my next step will be I'll go to NICEAG and I'll ask.
okay?
Thank you very much.
But
for-
unfortunately, Jerry, anybody in that district, they're tied in because of the way the vote was, right? That's why, I mean, like I said, I wasn't here, but
Yes,
it's pretty obvious to me that's what happened.
and because the majority of the people involved wanted it.
Yeah.
You just gotta
Let's hope
realize,
nobody else gets involved in the lighting district in the
well,
township.
if somebody comes forward to us with a petition for something, we have to act upon it. Okay, if they request a service from us,
Mhm.
we're a service provider, so to speak. We can't just say, we're not gonna honor your petition, we have to at least look into it, see if the majority of the people wanted it or not, and that's what we did.
Okay, so if the majority of the people want it, they get it.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily?
Well, because it was a weighted vote,
Uh-huh.
because it was based upon assessed value.
Mhm.
So maybe somebody that, it was by the, whatever their property was assessed at.
So if somebody was assessed at 200,000, they had more of a say of yes or no than
Yes.
somebody at 7,000?
Exactly, yeah.
Really?
That's the way, and it's not, it's the way it was presented to us, Jerry.
Okay, well, I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just trying to understand
It's-
how this formulated, that I didn't know, where a district started, where it stops. These are all things that I don't know about. The assessed value of what the weight lies on someone voting yes or no. If a person has a $200,000 house, their vote is better than a guy that has a $10,000 house.
But their cost is higher.
Right, their
In
cost
the
is higher, but I'm
district,
just
their
saying,
cost
it's
is higher
not
in
one
the
vote here, one vote here, it goes on assessed value. So if I had 5 people that $10,000 properties, that's 50,000, and I got a guy that's got a $100,000 property, he votes yes, they all vote no, we're gonna put it in because this guy's value is higher. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's the way that we were told.
For instance,
We
all
didn't
right.
create it, you know?
I'm trying to understand, that's why I asked the questions.
Right.
If
No.
a person on that district,
That's
your
right.
assessment
Yeah.
was 7,400, I believe.
Yep.
If somebody had a $140,000 assessment, which would be roughly 20 times what yours is,
Yep.
their vote carried 20 times the weight, but
Yep.
their bill for that lighting district is 20 times what yours is,
I agree.
okay?
But I'm just saying that, I just want everybody to understand that if I have 10 people on the road, one person has a $200,000 house, 9 people only have a lower rate and it comes on under 200,000 with the 9 people, even though they would vote no, if this guy votes yes and his house is 200,000,
That is,
then the vote stands.
that is
It's
my.
by assessed value.
That's my understanding.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand.
No, that's.
Thank you for letting me understand.
You're completely.
And thank you for your
entitled-
time.
You're completely entitled to this dialogue, Jerry,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
you're here to understand.
That's right, and I didn't understand, and you're making me understand, so thank you very much. And I'll
Thank
take it
you.
up to NICEAG, and I'll look forward to meeting for the RV situation in October.
Anybody else wish to address the board? Okay. If not, I need approval of the minutes of August 13th.
I'll move that we approve the minutes from the August 13th meeting. I'll second that.
Any questions on the August 13th meeting? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. No abstentions for it. We had a special meeting on August 21st. Any minutes approved for that?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 21st special meeting.
And
All
I'll,
the engineers.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions on the special meeting in August?
How'd that go? I was there.
I wasn't here either.
No.
Good.
Looks like we get everything tried to set up for this public hearing, but then we had to cancel it because it didn't get in the papers on time.
We're
Okay.
gonna, we
So
gotta
we're gonna
reschedule that.
reschedule that.
Okay.
And
Well, first of all, it's not that it didn't get in there on time. There was a big, because I don't want you to think that I didn't do.
No, no,
it.
Yeah, we don't.
No, well, what happened was I sent it down, but it was a very long notice, and they wanted $2,600 to put it in the paper.
Come on.
Oh,
So
want
they
to-
called Larry.
The description of the whole water
Yeah.
district is what they want.
So they called Larry to, because they wanted it paid up front. So then that's when we contacted the attorney to see if we could do a shorter version.
Right.
Which I had already contacted the attorney, and he said it had to be the whole description. But then after they changed it, and they said it could be a shorter version. So I sent down the change, and that's all they put in was the change.
Okay,
They didn't put in the whole notice that was supposed to go in.
okay.
So that's why it was late. So we have to start all over
$2,600?
again.
The whole description of the water district,
10,
which
12 pages?
include all the other water
Legal
districts
pages?
together to form water district number 6.
Okay.
I think I could bring a notice to every resident in the town for $2,600.
Well, anyways, it was not Julie's fault. It was a misunderstanding with the press, so, whatever, they didn't get it in on time.
Okay.
They didn't get the proper notice in on time.
Okay.
So we need to reschedule that later this evening, okay? So I have a motion to second on the 21st meeting, am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed?
I wasn't here.
Okay. Now, August 23rd, we also had another special meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 23rd.
I'll second it.
Any questions on the August 23rd meeting? If not, all those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? That's also carried. You have your town clerk's monthly report?
I make a motion, we accept the town clerk's monthly report as written.
I'll second that.
Any questions on the town clerk's monthly report? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. To celebrate the 225th anniversary of the town of Champlain, Champlain Memorial Library will be holding a series of talks beginning September 18th at 7 p.m. about the life and times in Champlain. It will be an open forum encouraging residents of the Champlain to share their early memories and pictures of life in Champlain. On September 18th, there's going to be 6, I believe they're all Wednesdays. I'm pretty certain of that. The first one will be the life in the village of Champlain. September 25th will be a talk on the Sharon Ironworks. October 2nd, the Savoy Hotel. October 9th, the flooding in the village. October 16th, the canal boats. I used to come up all the way to the village. October 23rd, the frog pond up in Barry's Mills. So these will be very interesting topics. I encourage everybody who can, this is strictly for your information. It says many lifetime residents will be attending, so hopefully we can all learn something if we can make those meetings. Okay. A notice from the County Board of Elections pertaining to the election that's going on here today. Machines were delivered last Friday, I believe. It will be picked up this coming Friday. As of an hour or two ago, there was only 2 voters all day long, from noon till now. Maybe more by now, I'm not sure. Okay. This is a letter from the legislators pertaining to the real property office. We have to turn in our budget to them by the 20th of November, so they can come up with the right tax levy, get the tax bills ready for January 1st. This is all about, Julie said that we've done this every year, just strictly a formality. We have to schedule, before we leave, 2 workshops for our budget. Budget, we normally have the first meeting in November. November regular board meeting, we usually have a public hearing on the budget, which I intend to do again this year. I have a request from the Zoning Board of Appeals. I got 3 people who wish to attend a conference in Potsdam on October 15th. Bruce Siegwin, Joe Ledoux, and Gerald Arnold. The letter is signed by Bruce Siegwin, chairman of that board. Is it the desire of the board to allow these 3 people to go to a conference in Potsdam? It's a 1-day conference, no overnight.
I'd like to make a motion, we allow Bruce and Joe Ledoux and Gerald Arnold to attend the conference up in Potsdam. Second that.
Are they looking for, is there an expense in this, or?
Yeah. I think it's $35 for the class.
It's really good too. It's very good.
It's for us to support our boards and make sure they get the right information.
Absolutely.
So do I have a motion to,
Yeah.
I make a
John
motion.
and Dennis.
Okay. Didn't vote on it, did we?
No.
No?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Well, we already scheduled the public hearing for the zoning changes. We have to reschedule our hearing for the water district hearing with Matt Cooper. We were looking at the 24th, Julie, if I'm correct, at 7 o'clock at night. Would that work for everybody?
Yes. For me.
Steve, would that, the 24th? Julie's gonna have to get that in there
Tomorrow.
soon. Okay,
Yeah, because it takes 3 days,
yep,
so.
okay. Have a motion to that effect?
I make a motion to hold the meeting on the 24th.
Public hearing
Public hearing, excuse me.
for the water district.
the
Water district number 6.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried,
7 PM.
yes. Superintendent of Highways, Alan, you have anything to bring us
No,
up
I
to?
don't have much. We're getting ready to start screening sand for the winter. And I'm still fixing the grader. I'm waiting for a guy to come and help us time it. And other than that, I'm still helping the county. Maybe got another couple weeks there, we'll be done with them, so we're getting caught up in all our work. Go on to the
Good.
next.
Okay. I
You
know,
up with your guardrail stuff that you want to get done?
Well, I put in for the guardrails. He hasn't given me a real date when he's coming up. And I'd like to know when he's coming up, because we gotta help him, especially on the Southwick Road.
Yeah.
What is that?
Mention that.
just a few day job, or?
Well, it's 2-3 days, got cement to pour, and, you know, this time of year pouring cement takes an extra day.
Yep. Okay. Okay, let's talk about budget workshops. We're gonna schedule at least 2. I'd like to schedule 2 of them. And we just scheduled Tuesday the 1st of October for a public hearing, the 24th. I don't know what you think about 2 in a week, that's the problem, you know? We just need a few days, Jane and I do get some things together for a budget workshop. We need to post those and advertise them, I believe.
You don't have to have those late in the evening.
Would 4 o'clock in the afternoon work for most people? Steve,
Yeah, 5 would be better. 5 would be better. Can we do it on the 24th? Back it up against that?
you want to spend that much time here? From 5 to 9 maybe?
No, but, I mean, can we go a couple hours before? Go from 5
From
to 7?
5 to 7, and then,
Yeah,
Then you'll be here from 5 to 9 probably.
that's right. Well, that's not gonna take 2 hours for that public hearing on
no,
the water district.
no.
Well, Matt's going to be here to explain it if there's people here that want
Yeah.
to hear it.
Okay.
You're probably,
I'd rather do it right in the same day.
you're probably correct.
Yeah.
It might not take 2 hours. I
You
wouldn't be
guys,
surprised.
I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm okay with it.
You all ready at 5 o'clock on the
Yes.
24th?
Yeah.
John?
I'm gonna run down to that seminar down there, I think it's on the 24th, the same day, but I should be back by then. It's done at noon anyway,
Done at noon?
but it was from PJ,
Yes.
that's the 24th, I
In
think.
Malta?
Yeah.
I forgot the date on it. I
We'll
should-
get back here in plenty of time.
Okay, so you're all right with it?
Yep.
Okay. 24th for the first one,
5 PM.
5 PM.
Yep.
Let's go for a second one. Now, we need a couple weeks between first and second one
Sure.
for us to get our facts and figures together. We need to, the 8th of October is our regular board meeting.
Before you board meeting.
Yeah. I don't mind.
You wanna do it 5 o'clock in the afternoon before the board meeting?
Yes, that's,
Dennis?
Yeah, sure. That's good with you? Yeah. I'll make it work.
The 8th then. The 24th and the 8th, 24th of September and the 8th.
and the first is the,
The first is zoning,
yes,
yes.
good,
The 8th is our regular board meeting.
right,
We'll have a budget workshop before the board meeting.
good.
You guys are earning your pay.
Why does it sound like you don't think we do?
I'm just joking, I'm just joking.
Okay, do we, can somebody
There
make a
will be
motion?
some pizza or something.
Yes.
Somebody make a motion to that effect. the 24th and the 8th for budget workshops at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
I'll make that motion.
Yep, go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. You'll advertise those also,
Yes.
Julie?
You might pay too.
You and your page.
Before I get to the bills, usually the last thing. Oh. I just got this a day or two ago. I think you may have gotten notice on the emails on this.
Yes.
I'm forwarding a link to the article in today's Press Republican. I'm not sure if the link will be active because press is limited access to non-subscribers. However, the article pertains to the proposed closing of the North Hudson I-87 Border Patrol checkpoint. I think the town should go on record as being opposed to this closing and should notify the proper authorities, Bill Owens and our senators, and urge Clinton County legislators to do the same. The checkpoint is an important part of our northern border protection and national security. Is this something we want to,
What it is that there's a bill before the House right now proposing that they be limited to only 25 miles from the border. Right now, it's 100 miles. So if they pass this bill, that checkpoint will close because it's beyond the 25 miles from the border. I'll entertain a motion to oppose closing that checkpoint.
I will second that. I think checkpoints are a tool, and if they can stop any drug trafficking or anything that is impacting our community, I'm all for it.
they certainly know best where to have checkpoints. We wouldn't.
Absolutely.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I'm assuming that these can be sent on to Senator, Congressman. Okay? Any questions on this?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. You have your post audit bills.
Before we do that, yeah, I'd like to discuss.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we received the things, the 225th anniversary from the governor, Senator Doolittle, I mean, all these people were nice enough to send all these things for our 225th. We have them in there, and there, a lot of them are still in the boxes and things. I'd like to have Jane have those framed for us, so we can put them on the walls out here in our meeting room. They're all sealed by the governor and the congressman and everything, and I think would be kind of appropriate to put in this room. Absolutely.
All the
I'd like to get permission to go forward with it. Absolutely.
That's a motion.
That's a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any question on that?
Excellent thought, John.
Yeah, well, we got them there, I mean, they look pretty nice in here, I think.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Does anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to piggyback on what John is talking about, the 225. I'd like to thank anybody that was involved in the planning of that, specifically Jane and Julie, and I'm not sure who else, so I'm not gonna say any more names than that. To all of our volunteers who gave up weekends and probably a lot more weeks prior to that, or a lot more days prior to that, but it was a very successful day, and there's a lot of thanks that need to go out to this community.
That was a well-done thing. If you got the girls, like he said, you get the ones like Freddie, they did all telephone calls, we all helped out, but nevertheless, for a community effort, this thing went off ever so well, and I was really proud of everybody. And boy, we had some volunteers, Dick worked his butt off, I mean, everybody was involved in this thing, and it really came out good. You can tell, look at the gray hair on Bruce over there. Well, I want to thank everybody for it.
I'm very proud of it. I think it was great.
I got nothing but good remarks, good reports. A lot of people that had never heard that band before.
Yeah, we did, that came out great.
It was a great day. Really no real glitches. Everything ran smooth.
So it's something we're only gonna do probably over 25 years, so I think we can all be proud of what we did and
Well, we were
the
thinking
support that we had.
about doing it next year on your birthday.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. Wow, that's a stretch.
Okay. Anything else beside the bills? I need a motion to approve the bills.
I make a motion to approve all the bills as presented.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. If nothing else, I do need an executive session to discuss personnel.
I make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss personnel.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.